Sweet. Okay, take two. Got some microphones now. Just again to repeat for AI's purposes or the transcript reasons. The purpose of this is to like find some mistakes, to refine our processes. If there's any questions about why we do things certain ways, I want to hear them. If there's anything that comes to mind needs to be said or written down so it can be said later or whatever it is. I don't really have a huge. I mean, I guess I do have a huge structure.
I was gonna say we've got something.
We've got a big old structure. I have a structure, but I'm okay to deviate from the structure.
Okay.
Is what I'll say. But basically, what the structure that I laid out was, I just kind of want to talk about the project overview, and I have a couple of bullet points on that. I want to make sure I talk about how I went through the design process of different things. I want to talk about how that gets translated down to when they actually built this stuff, how that relates to when after they built it, they came here to install it, like how does it all compound upon each other?
Yeah.
And we've already talked about some of this stuff upstairs. There really is a whole nother section of just like final payment. Like, how do I get that final payment at the end of all of that? Because you brought up a bunch of problems. So now we need to figure out how to solve the problem so that we can get that final check.
Yeah.
Is another whole part of it, where if this was a different type of job, that's what we would be after at this point is, okay, how do we work through the problems to get that last final, the customer's happy, they'll sign my check. That's kind of the next step after where we are currently.
Can I borrow your pencil?
Yeah,
I'm gonna write
absolutely.
something down to talk about later.
There's a bunch in there too.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And there's highlighters and whatever. On the back, people and responsibilities is what I wrote. I mean, ChatGPT wrote it, so. But I have a list of people: Michelle, David, Keith, John, Esker, customer, installer. I also have a whole section on David TCG. That's one of the people listed above. I've got a whole thing to talk about with that guy specifically, and maybe it'll come out today, or maybe we'll have to talk about that another time. But refine and replace. The big things I want to focus on is stuff that we've already talked about so far, which is the laundry system. I didn't talk to you that much. I didn't talk to Keith that much about it, but I talked to you a ton about how much I hate what we did with the laundry in here.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the gaps. And realistically, also what I'm talking about with that is this sort of thing that you're noticing when the doors aren't the right, they're just barely out of the right height, right height. That's a problem.
Yeah.
It is a problem. And when the gaps are like, some of them are this far apart, some of them like the variation in the gaps, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
So I want to spend a good amount of time talking about the gaps. Additionally, I brought this piece of the countertop material so that we can talk about the countertop materials. That's a whole separate piece that I want to talk about that we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah.
And for the record, I'll let you spot problems too.
Okay.
Maybe the best first quick little exercise could be to do what we did upstairs. Michelle, can you take a step back and just tell me the problems you see, and feel free to repeat the problems we already talked about.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good exercise to document.
Well, the color looks better here, but the gaps are inconsistent across. The drawer gaps look better, but here to this side, this one's much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
That's my biggest problem is the gaps. Because it's a flat panel, it's got to be just perfect, and you can see a little too much variation.
Yep. I'm gonna let Keith give one, and then if you come up with another one, let me know.
Kind of, I guess, similar to the gaps is like there's a lot of this going on where
like the gap is smaller and bigger down
it's
there.
closer together, which kind of tells me something's not straight because it's closer together on that corner and then closer together in this corner, and then further apart in that corner and further apart in that corner.
Totally.
Maybe that's an installer thing, and we're probably going to talk about that later, but that's kind of something that I noticed, at least with like the big, like these doors.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of consistent across all of them, it looks like.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
The only, I mean, and like we said, maybe it's an install thing, but that this line, that these drawers aren't perfectly in line. You can see this one comes up just a little bit further, but I mean, we're being very picky.
Totally. Yeah.
And I think here too, but maybe if it was shaker or something different, you could have a little bit more, the gaps wouldn't matter as much just because there's the other details going on, but flat panel I think has to be more precise.
Yeah, and I think part of that, maybe the counter, it looks like the countertop would probably cover it, but like even in line with these pieces here, this one's further along with this board here, and this one's more like closer to the middle. That's like a really small thing, but
My other problem, and maybe like we've talked about, is the dovetailing. No dovetailing that I see.
Yep. No dovetailing. That's good.
Just if I was a picky homeowner and I came in and be like, I don't like that it's not dovetailed.
Yep.
Will these get? Oh no. Okay, see that. Oh, it's another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
But that's right off the bat. That's what I see first.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit crazy and tell you everything I hate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get like as detailed as I possibly can. The first thing I noticed when I came in here wasn't the gaps, because I know how to solve the gaps. Like I already know the gaps are a problem because they're a problem on every single job.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that it's flat panel. It matters more because it's flat panel.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter less when it's shaker. It still matters when it's shaker.
But is it more noticeable?
It is definitely more noticeable
Yeah.
with flat panel, and you can get away with it a little bit more with shaker, but still the gaps every single time customers bring it up.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that in a second. The first thing that bothered me when I walked in is this grain pattern is the same as this grain pattern. That bothers me. Like I know that it's hard to catch it, but it's the same thing you said upstairs with this type of detail.
Yes.
But it's that, hey, why did we, when these got set next to each other, you can see it. Someone should have caught this.
I guess I don't hate that because I don't know the process. Like to me, when I see this, it almost looks like bookended. Like this is the same piece of wood that you cut and split. My problem is that there's not that same detailing over here, like on this side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you would rather just not have the detailing at all, or you like the detailing?
I don't mind the detailing itself.
You just would prefer symmetry if there
was, yeah. And like I said, I don't know how this part of it is made. Like this, I guess it's like a thin wood veneer almost that goes over it.
Yeah.
So to me, it looks like, okay, it's part of that same piece, but this isn't associated with it. So if we have this detail here, I would like it over here too.
Totally. Yeah. Just like if I was the customer,
yeah,
I would look at this and I would say, I don't care what I have to pay. I don't want these two to be there.
Yeah.
Can you just make me a new door for that one? Because I like the detail, but I would rather the door be flipped upside down so it's not like right next to each other. There is some bit of like variation.
Yeah.
I guess is like I actually like more variation, which is Rift Oak has. The purpose is that it has less variation.
Yeah.
Where this is not Rift Oak, it's just normal oak. So the graining is a lot different. The graining is a lot less straight. It's a lot more wild and stuff like that. But that is Rift Oak versus normal oak. That's part of why I brought these in today.
Yeah.
This one you can see it even more because it's like there's these loops everywhere. And while I'm thinking about it, this is a solid piece of oak.
Yeah.
Like you can see the end grain. These are edge banded So this is actually not even a solid, like it's a piece of MDF
Yeah.
with a veneer, and they do the veneer at the factory. So it's not like my guys aren't in there with a with a vacuum press trying to. But because we use this instead of real wood, and there's a really good reason we use this instead of real wood, and I'll say that in a second. But
Yeah.
this edge banding, I was actually shocked at how good the edge banding looked. I was impressed.
Yeah. Usually you can see just a little bit here and there. I do have a question about edge banding with moisture. I know MDF can be. Is it a danger to have something in a bathroom that is edge banded with moisture?
It's a great question, and I don't actually know the answer to that. I don't have a good answer for that one yet.
I would assume it depends on the quality of it, because at least there's the vanity in my bathroom. It has an edge band, but it was done poorly. It's like a
Because it's
stock one from Home
lifting.
Depot, yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like water has seeped into it, and you can see it dripping down through.
It would be a good question for me to ask the shop, how do we actually attach the edge banding? Because there's certain edge banding you just apply heat and like the glue naturally gets sticky in it, but there's
Yeah.
also you could super glue it, so then it would really actually stay.
Yeah.
I'm not super concerned because you also do have your countertop,
You
so
have your
like,
overhang.
and your water can drip down that way, but like for the most part, I kind of feel it's kind of protected, but I'm not totally sure yet.
Yeah.
This bothered me a little bit.
The darker?
The darker
Yes.
bothered me a little bit.
Well, I wanted to ask if that was an intentional detail so that this gap was darker, or if it was just.
It was not intentional.
Okay.
Yeah, if it was, you would need to match this one because this one's lighter.
It wasn't intentional. The reason that that happens is because with this MDF, with this isn't raw wood. And if we relate it back to that upstairs where the drawers were darker,
Yes.
there just is less variation in these sheets of MDF. When you just have raw wood, you need a lot of sticks of raw wood in order to build whatever you're building. We build the doors out of MDF because this is a very small drawer front. But when you get this big of a piece in real wood, it's going to warp and twist and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all part of why we do the doors the way that we do them. We do these the way that we do them because the real wood is actually stronger.
Yeah.
In smaller
So this
sections.
is real wood.
This is real wood. This is real wood.
Okay.
Like this tiny little piece. Because what we did here
I see.
is the way that we build these boxes is these boxes are built out of maple plywood.
Mhm.
And then we put a little piece of oak on the outside to match the rest of the face of it. And the shop isn't bothered that this inside wood is different than the outside wood. The shop is not bothered. I am a little bothered.
Yeah.
I've always been a little bothered. I don't know why it bothers me so much, because because realistically, if I was going to be building cabinets for my own house, because that's the type of person I am, I would make sure that the interior either matches the exterior or it is a sharp contrast to the exterior. Like I would make the interior black or the interior white or the interior walnut.
Yeah.
Where on Ty French's job, what I did there is his exterior was black, and as a little accent, the shelves were walnut. So it's like you didn't see that there was walnut unless you actually opened it, but it was this like pop of like,
Where
oh my
was
gosh.
it? Like, was it for a bar cabinet or
his whole kitchen.
the whole kitchen?
And he did flat black slab everywhere.
Yeah.
And the only walnut details were inside the actual cabinets, and on his hood, just a little section was funny. Just a little section was walnut on his hood.
Yeah. I don't know if this being the the maple bothers me as much as it bothers you, because I still like this detail. This still looks quality enough to me. You
Yeah.
know, that I can see this part of it.
I don't know that it actually bothers me.
Yeah.
It bothers me because I know that it's a different species of wood.
And I think that's just because
Because
the
of who I
cabinet
am.
guy.
Yeah, I think that is what it is as well.
Yeah.
Where I don't think it's a worthwhile thing to fix at this stage of the game. If I had a customer who brought it up, I could say, yeah, to be honest, that bothers me too.
Yeah.
It doesn't really bother anybody else, which is why I just don't make a big deal about it, but it really bothers me. And that line in and of itself saves me a lot.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, most people don't pick up on it, but I can't believe you picked up on it.
Yeah.
You're my favorite customer because you picked up on it. All the theatrics that
Yes.
go into that sale that gets made.
Yeah.
And it is part of the process. Like it just is. It is the truth and the reality.
Well, I wonder if a bigger problem for homeowners is getting afraid when you hear MDF. Because I think there's a big misunderstanding about MDF being cheap or like not a quality material. Would that scare homeowners? Maybe. And then we'd have to really figure out like, hey, this is why we don't use, a real piece of wood, because it can warp. And maybe we bring a piece of wood with us so people can see it.
That, or it is what we've already kind of talked about. I need like 10 quick teach you about cabinet videos that are a minute each, because I can explain that concept with the right scripting and the right editing. Not this format. This isn't the format I'm suggesting.
Yeah.
But this format is to bring out those ideas of like, how do we communicate to the customers, and how do I not have to do it every single time, because every customer needs to be explained it to.
Yeah.
Needs to have it explained to them. And I can hire you guys to go explain it to people, but then you guys have to do it, and that sucks too. So I do think a video format, some sort of as you're going through the process, this type of situation where we can kind of show people. And this is another thing. It's like, this is super dark and it does bother me too.
Yeah.
But as soon as the countertop is in place, it bothers me less.
Yeah.
Because I don't see it.
And I don't know if anybody's going to notice it.
No one will notice when the countertop's there. But the customer will notice it before the countertop's there, and they will make a big deal about it before the countertop's there.
Oh, this is the okay.
Yeah. Also, as it relates to countertops, if we could shift there real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle, this, if you bend down and look, it's a 1/2 inch gap right now.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less. I think it's too little.
You think it should be?
I think it should be more, because I don't like that when I'm standing up, I can't see the top of my door.
Oh, I like that you can't see.
You like that you can't see the
Yeah.
top. Perfect. That's what I need to hear.
Yeah,
You
I
think
don't
this
want
is
to
a
see
positive.
the top of the door. Yeah.
Gotcha. Perfect. Because it'll all change when I don't know what that open one went.
I think it's just back in the box somewhere.
Once you put handles and stuff on, like, stuff changes, and now there's a whole new thing to focus on, and like.
I'll tell you why I don't like seeing the top of the door. Because then it looks like too big of a filler piece right here. To me, it almost seems like a builder, like something you buy from Home Depot, where it's got this huge like blank space all around.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And that same exact comment is why my dad wanted it this way. And I don't know if I agree, but I do want to spend a good amount of time thinking through with you, what is our desired reveal here? Is it worth asking the customer what their desired reveal is there? I absolutely do not think so.
No.
I think we need to have a standard, and then that they just get to deal with the standard. Because to me, this is too much. I think that's too much.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. Because I would almost go the opposite way of you. I like it pretty tight onto it.
And the other factor here is that this countertop is going to be thinner, because that's another question that we need to work through is like, do we have, this one might be worth talking to the customer about. Like, how how proud of this? What is our standard for how proud the countertop goes from the?
I think it's really style dependent. So if this is pretty modern, where all these gaps and everything, like I said, really start making a big difference to people. So even this, I'm like, that's still a little bit high. I just think customers, unless they're very modern, they're not going to know what this should be.
What this gap should
What
be.
this gap should be.
No, they wouldn't.
So I
and they
wouldn't
won't.
even consult them because then it just throws too much into it.
I agree.
But somebody who's doing this kind of thing, it might bother them. But
I'm standing
especially,
on that side so you don't block the.
but
it
this
doesn't-
is my
doesn't
next
matter that
thing.
much.
Is if you are sitting at this, because you're never going to do eye level at this unless you're sitting down on that toilet, which happens right at it.
Yeah. And yeah, I agree. Okay, all these gaps can get fixed. If it's a door next to a door, it's really easy because the screws on the hinges move these doors. They can tilt them this way or this way. I have control over this tilt. I have control over this movement. I have control over this movement. So I kind of have control over the doors specifically.
Yeah.
The drawers are a little bit harder because even if I move this over that way, well, now my gap only grew on this side. On this particular one, we can take these drawers and loosen these screws and tap the drawers over to eliminate that gap. But then it is, it's a hard process.
Mm-hmm.
Our shop uses specific drawer glides.
Okay.
And
do you like what they use?
I have not formed a strong opinion on them other than I've used more premium drawer glides, and the more premium ones do kind of give you a little bit more play. These ones give you a certain amount. I think that these ones, I don't remember because I try to never be the one to adjust the drawers.
Yeah.
I'll adjust the doors because it's not that hard of a process. The drawers, like, it'll take you 3 hours in this room to adjust all those drawers and stuff. And it's like, it took you 20 minutes to screw it to the wall, and now it takes you a lot more time for the next part of it. So all that being said, every problem that we've talked about so far is fixable after it's already been installed.
My one problem, so not the gaps being straight, but the doors look almost undersized because the gaps seem too large.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which you could.
And that
probably
is why,
fix,
if you
right?
look close, right here, we leave enough space here so that you have a reveal, but they leave too much.
Yes.
They leave way too much. And part of what I need to do is figure out what I'm designing in my program. I'm going to use this that I've been using with everybody lately. I design, and then I need to communicate it with John, and then I need to, John communicates it to the people who are building it, and then it comes for install. And that game of telephone that got played, what I plan up here, we can do an amazing job.
Yeah.
And it just isn't going to matter because the game of telephone all the way down, my standards need to be kept at every state. And I need to find ways to communicate it well enough to this first person. And that's what I've been working on for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And now I'm as confident and strong in that I can actually do it with this level. But even if I fix that perfect,
yeah, there
still is the next game of telephone below that. And that particular part is what the David TCG is on the back. Doesn't matter. But we'll talk about that in a separate. The David TCG part is my best attempt to fix that game of telephone. So we'll talk about that.
Just for have we talked about David? That name doesn't sound familiar.
No, I just read through this at the very beginning of this video. I just mentioned that I wanted to talk about that. That's it.
But in general, have you and I talked about a David before?
I don't think we have.
Okay.
No. But he's like, I've been pulling on him for the last 3 years because he's an employee at the shop.
Okay.
We'll talk about
No, it's okay.
that. Could get its own video. Like if I'm just being honest, like it just could get its own thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look back at this to see where we're at and what we've. Some general context on this. So we pointed out all those problems, and the reason I've been asking for all the problems is because our normal customers are not the customer that is on this job. This job very specifically is a flip. It's not a homeowner. It's a businessman trying to buy a property, increase its value for as little money as you can, and then sell it. So things that I want to hold as my values for, or my standards for cabinets, just don't fit with the type of customer that would be doing flips. At least not like if you asked the flipper on this one, not a smart flipper, because you can't spend twice as much as you could on every stage of the project.
Yeah.
But there is stages that you should, and I do think cabinets is one of them, which is why I think this is the right industry to be in.
So are you saying? Sorry, go ahead.
It seems like for that flipper, all he cares about is their white oak cabinetry, and it checks a box.
That is partially what the what do you call it?
Designer.
He's taken bits and pieces from what the designer is saying is the important part.
Yeah.
Because we are trying to have the check boxes. We
Yeah.
want the laundry hampers. We want the fancy stuff in the kitchen to an extent. Like we're trying to check enough boxes, because the comment consistently is, this isn't selling the house. Let's not worry that much about it.
Yeah.
The comment is, look out there. That's selling the house. Look at as a large whole, because what I said to you earlier, there's a 50% chance that whoever buys this house is going to throw the cabinets out because they want what they want.
Yeah.
And then there's a 50% chance that we will be hired to replace them for them. So that is the reason I want to do a good job on this job. It's hard to do a good job when the things that I care about aren't cared about, or willing to be paid for by the customer.
Money, it doesn't matter if it's the money guy.
Because like there is the customer we're talking about in Santa Barbara. In fact, I would say most of the customers in Santa Barbara is the customer that is going to be talking about what you and I and all of us have been talking about, which is like, I don't like that these gaps are there. I don't like that these, like all the stuff that gets whined at me.
Yeah.
I'm not yelling at you for whining at me, obviously. But it gets the customers whine. Today is it's a stressful day in this whole cabinet process. After my installer's finished, but we're not quite finished with everything, it is a stressful time, because it's just like, what are they gonna yell at me about? Like, what are they gonna be upset about? And 80% of the things that they are gonna get upset about is easy to solve. It's the 20% that sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't, that it's like, well, frick, that's going to take me 15 hours to figure out how to solve this problem.
I do have a question in regard to our process. So after install day, obviously, nothing else has been installed. How do we safeguard the cabinetry from other trades? Is there some kind of process like, hey, we took a picture of what we left, but I come back and this is, messed up? Do we eat it? What happens?
Up to this point, it's on the contractor.
Okay.
And I haven't done this step very often, but I just need pictures of the cabinets so that when there's a new scratch, it's like, well, look, I took this on this day. Yeah. I sent you the documentation to collect my final check, because I want to get from the way that I've been structuring payment schedule is an upfront deposit when I'm done with this stage, when I'm done with the planning stage. And then I get 40% at that point. I get another 40% yesterday when they deliver the cabinets.
Mhm.
So they've paid me 80%. So I've only have a 20% discrepancy. And I need that 20%, obviously.
Yeah.
Most of my profit is in that 20%. I need that 20%. But in order to get that final 20%, I do need a certain amount of these little issues to go away to get that 20%.
Yeah.
I need the customer, I need everything that the customer, whatever gets on the punch list. And a strategy is you start the punch list before the customer even looks at it.
Yeah.
So then you kind of are going through with the customer. Oh yeah, look, I already have it on the punch list. We
Yeah.
already are going to fix it. Oh yeah, that other problem, I already have it on the punch list. And if you can identify a problem that they didn't pick up, that you can tell them
Gains a
that,
little
hey,
trust.
look, I know it doesn't matter to most people. And that the thing I said earlier, it's the salesmanship. I know it doesn't matter to most people, but if you look right, I can't come up with an example right now, but I can't come up with a good example right now. Have you noticed that this gap is a little, like this door is sitting out? Yeah, you didn't pick up on it. Well, it's so important to me. I need that to be in the right spot.
Yeah.
So some of that salesmanship is how I've managed those emotions of the day after install is the most stressful day.
Well, and education up front. So even if you just have a 10-minute conversation with your customer on install day or design day, like, hey, these aren't going to be perfect until we fine tune it at the end. Just so they're
Yes.
not walking in and being like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? You know, as long as they know Nate knows it's a problem. Not even a problem, but it's just part of the process.
Yeah. Showing the customer enough of the process is important.
Yeah.
How much time are we at?
32 minutes.
Cool. How's everybody feeling? Like
I'm happy with
are you exhausted and ready to be done, or we still want to push forward and do more?
I feel great.
Yeah,
So keep going.
I've got no problem keeping going.
Okay.
And I've got the time, so.
Can you pause it for a second?
Okay.